Welcome everyone to a new episode of This is a Revolution, your weekly Rev Pro podcast, hosted by myself, George, and my good friend, Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, mate. Very well. It's winter is, as we keep saying, setting in. I had an interesting thing yesterday. I went to the gym again yesterday morning, so I spoke on here before about how I was doing really well. Then I just kind of went on holiday, and that was me for a few months. So yesterday morning, the alarm went off at 4:45 a.m. And I got up. It was pitch black outside. Okay, fine. We move. We get into the gym. We do an hour, and I think it works out an hour and 15 by the time I showered up, ready to go home, ready to go to work, I should say. And I walked down. I was like, something feels different about this gym, and I couldn't put my finger. Genuinely, I couldn't work out what it was till I got to the door and realised it was still dark outside. That was the thing that was different. Whereas before, it would normally be bright, and it wasn't, and that it did not get bright pretty much until I arrived at work at 7:30.
Dude, 4:45 is not a time to be getting up.
I know, mate, but so we start.
That is the ambiguous hour between 4 and 5, where if you're still up, it's too late.
Yeah.
And if you're already up, it's too early.
Yeah, agreed on that. We start work at 8:30. This, when I say we, my brother and I, he works the same place as me. And he lives 3 miles away from me. But like where the way Salisbury works is you've got this one road that basically goes through the whole city. And the one road that goes towards Southampton is like to the right of my house, and my brother's house is to the left of my house. So I have to drive 3 miles one way to come back the 3 miles after I picked him up to then go down. So like I have to add on 15 minutes just to go and get him. Whereas if he lived on the way, it would be much simpler. And then I'm always worried, what if we don't get on the machines? Like, it sounds silly, like at 5 o'clock in the morning. I've been in there and it's been really busy at times where I've not been able to get on what I want to do, which is crazy, but people are utilising it. And then I'm like, well, we need to get done by this time so we could get to work on time. And we've been pretty lucky with the traffic, to be fair. So we get there. And then we're going to we've got this pond round by where we work, this big pond. We're going to do laps around that. So I'm hitting my 10,000 almost first thing in the morning, which is great. But yeah.
You're putting me to shame.
I got the tiredness, yeah.
I am never out of bed before 7:30 in the morning. Like, even if I'm awake, like, I'll often wake up 5:30, 6. I'm not getting up. I might go and make a coffee and go back to bed, but I am like, nope, this is my chill time before the day begins, and then I get to work for 8:15, and I'm literally being pulled in different directions from 8:15 until whatever time everybody goes home. Normally by about 3:30, time is mine to do what I need to do. But yeah, like that's that little bit of time where the kids are still in bed and I'm awake. That's my like precious time.
Yeah, I get that though, mate. Like, I mean, I don't have kids, and I was about to say that it sounds really. I don't mean. I was about to say, luckily, I don't have kids. Right, that sounds like your kids that I've met are lovely. To be fair, I think I've only met one of your children. She was lovely.
You met one? You just met Phoebe?
Yeah, I don't. Have I met Sophie? I don't think I have.
No, you might not actually have, mate, because she tends to. No, I don't think you would have, mate. I've never taken her to a London show. Yeah, she doesn't come very often to Rev Pro, and when she does, it would be like back in the day, St. Neots, and then she'll do the odd Coventry or Stevenage.
I was going to say, did she go to Jacob this year?
No, I don't think she did.
No.
The funny thing is, she was meant to come to Raw Deal, and I'd bought her a ticket, and I fucking forgot. I just forgot. So when we got there, Phoebe made a point. She was like, "No one's sitting next to me. There's an empty seat there." And I was like, "Yeah, there is."
Oh my god!
And then I looked in my inbox and was like, "Oh my god, there's free tickets there."
Oh,
so I bought my ticket. Then I bought Phoebe and Sophie's ticket on the same transaction. So when I showed them the ticket to go in for Phoebe, I didn't notice there was another one underneath it.
Oh, mate.
I mean, she didn't notice either, so she obviously wasn't like
Well, that's
massively.
okay. Yeah.
It wasn't like in her diary circled.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Saturday at the wrestling. It was
Yeah.
just
I've not felt
I
bad
said, "Do you
enough to tell
fancy
you.
wrestling?" She said, "Yes." I'd bought a ticket and then forgotten about it.
Look, Andy Quilden is pleased with you, I'm sure, because look, he's got the ticket money anyway for someone that didn't even come.
Yes, that's a 20 quid, isn't it?
But no, so yeah, but I get the whole like when you've got that, and what I mean by when I say luckily I'm not a parent is that I don't have to. When I get up, I can just stumble around the house tired if I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
You are
Your time
dad
is your
straight
own.
away. Yeah, you are dad straight away, and you've got to deal with that. Like you can't just be like, ugh. So I understand the sanctuary element of not getting out of bed before time. To be fair, mate, I used to be really terrible. I get up at as soon as I'm awake, I'm up, and that doesn't matter what time within reason. Anything after 4:30, 5 o'clock, if I'm up, I'm up. But what I used to do, this was like in my 20s as well, right? I hated getting up, so I would stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning on a work night. My alarm would be set for 7. I worked literally round the corner, and what I would do is I would go back downstairs. So I'd get up, walk downstairs, Sky Sports News on the telly, and then I'd set a time for 15 minutes, and I'd go back to sleep for 15 minutes, and then I'd go get showered and walk around to work. Like it was great. But yeah, if I do that now, if I have any kind of nap now, I am absolutely fucked. I'm just people I'm most jealous of in
Yeah,
this world after billionaires are people who can go for a nap during the day and not feel tired. I do not
yeah,
understand that logic. Like I feel worse for it having done it. But yeah, yeah. So took a trip to Southampton this weekend, didn't we?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. We did, mate. We
you
did.
took an extra long trip down south.
I did. Yeah, I had a full weekend of Rev Pro. First ever contenders show.
Hmm?
Really enjoyed it. Right, really good fun. Completely different vibe to any other show I've ever been to. Very much like family friendly, proper kind of what I would imagine is the experience you'd see from like your local wrestling, your Butlins wrestling, your those kinds of events.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
vibe I get from it. Not been, but yeah.
yeah, the venue itself was like really St. Neots-esque. So that was something I was quite used to, but it was quite like a bit
Yeah,
of a throwback.
yeah,
But it was just cool. Like I got a lot of time for a lot of the young lads that are on working the shows and doing all the hard graft and not getting
yeah,
any of the limelight for it.
yeah,
So I wanted to go and see them, and like someone like Elvin Narayan, who was in the main event with Will Caven, and he's like 16 years old, and he was unbelievably good as a 16-year-old.
yeah,
It's one of those ones where it's like I love the fact that I'll be able to look back and be like, oh, I remember seeing him like right at the start of his journey.
hmm
There was a lad who wrestled called Toby Voice, and it was his first ever wrestling match.
Wow.
And like all his family and friends from school were like there to cheer him on, and like that was quite cool. I got to see Gideon, and it's bothered me for a long, long time. On my list of wrestlers I've seen live, I had Gideon times 9, and I was like, I want a 10th Gideon Grey match,
Yeah,
and it just feels like that's less and less and less likely to happen
yeah,
unless I go to one of these shows. So genuinely,
understand, yeah,
Gideon was my main draw to be able to go and see him one more time, and he was so much fun. And it was
yeah,
like even that was a Gideon Grey I've never seen live before. Like
yeah,
he came out to Nirvana rather than the Legion's music. He was pure comedy wrestler.
yeah,
Like he's always been comedic, but this was literally laugh a minute stuff. coming on to Owen Swain's mum and bantering off Elvin Narayan's sister, like just fun stuff, real
yeah.
fun stuff. And then
Nice.
like I got to go and see my mate Spike, who obviously we both know, and I got to go and eat in his restaurant, which was lovely. And then I spent the Sunday in Southampton with him and his little boy, and we went to the wrestling together. So it was like a really nice like whole weekend.
Yeah,
And then a double show this weekend, FantasticaMania as well, which
yeah.
is
Yeah.
Wicked. And then a week off next weekend, watching it live on demand for the first time in a long, long time.
Yeah, it'll be good. I have a slight confession. This is gonna sound really bad, but I remember seeing you post about the Contender show, and it was half just jest taking the piss out of you a little bit, and half like this is actually really sweet and endearing. And I was saying to the wife, I was like, normally when people talk about like the venues that are like iconic to them, right? And this will be your version of what the Doncaster Dome was for me in terms of I'm like, I
Yeah.
must go there, and people are like, why? And I said, normally it's these big venues, and for Dave, it's the fucking Buckland Dome. Like,
Yeah. Marcus Jones, who's one of the contenders, did like a funny little reel where he was just hyping up his match with JJ Gal,
I saw,
but also taking the piss out of JJ. And in it, he referenced me and said, like, for some reason, Dave the Mark's got a massive boner for the Buckland Dome.
yeah,
But literally, like, it goes back to like the A Squared podcast. I'm the same with the Mountbatten Centre. Like, you listening to the podcast, watching all the old shows, and I'm very much aware that when I watch all the old shows, and I've done that like completionist history of Rev Pro, it's not, you can't complete the history of Rev Pro because there are so many shows that were never filmed because they were in venues like the Mountbatten Centre and places like the Buckland Dome or the Buckland Community Centre.
that's the Buckland
But
Dome.
it's like, for me, they're the historical British wrestling events.
Yeah,
Because I'm not like my whole niche is like it's not British wrestling, it's not the world of pro wrestling, it's Rev Pro. Like, it is literally, I am enamored with the whole story from the start. I genuinely find it really fascinating and rewarding to like invest fully in like the whole history and story of the whole thing.
yeah.
So for me, like, that's massive. So I'm really glad that I got to go. Looking forward to going back to the Hangar this weekend because that's become really quickly one of my favourite venues around.
It's great, isn't it?
Got my Portchester Hall season ticket for next year,
Oh, nice.
but have officially given up my front row seat.
Oh. You go lurking around the edges, are you?
Yeah, I am, mate. I am. It's unbelievable value for a general admission ticket, like 20 quid a show. So I looked at it from that side and was like, that's cool. And then also both times we've been to Portchester Hall, I've sat there and been like, do you know what? Like, standing over there looks really cool. Standing over there looks really cool. Where we were sat this last time, I was looking over my shoulder that way, thinking there's no reason why you can't stand over there.
Yeah.
It's not like at the 229, there was only one place you could stand.
Yeah.
And that was behind all the seats where the bar is. In Portchester Hall, I think there's loads of standing capacity.
Much better sight lines.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really enjoyed the freedom and flexibility of standing. I like the fact that, especially when you think like a lot of the stuff that I make online, I need photos for. And it does get a little bit boring taking the same photos from the same angle all the time.
Yeah, I get that.
It's why when I used to go to the 229, people used to laugh at me because I used to sit in a different space every time. I'd jump from one side to the other side, and they'd.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people are like, they like their spots, they've found their seats, they like to stick to them. I'd literally just move all over the place because I was just trying to get interesting shots.
I get that. Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone for a standing ticket and thoroughly looking forward to it. I think I'll do the same for Southampton and Sheffield as well. And then I'll just, if it's the same as it was last year, I'll just get my general admission season ticket for Coventry.
Yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to when the Southampton one comes out. I'm definitely going to get a Southampton season ticket. I don't think I'll benefit from a London one because I don't think I'd make all the dates during the year because all it takes is for the trains to be something like 50 to 70 quid that day.
Yeah.
And it rules me out, which is why I don't think I'm going to be making November's show purely for that reason. It normally costs me about £35 for the train. get where it goes up to
You don't have to
£55.
be a season ticket holder, right? Like you can still buy your tickets on the day.
Exactly, and that's where I think I'll just get just as good value for money out of it, because I think if I have the season ticket, I'll feel like I'm missing out because I've paid for it. Whereas, if the train goes on a strike or something, I would just feel like that I would get the value for money that I should be, at least, and if I can book it on a show by show basis. But Southampton, I'm definitely gonna get a season ticket when that comes out. Yeah, but I'm interested to see what the schedule looks like for next year, because I saw on the wrap up that Andy said that next year he envisages it to be the same, if not busier, next year as well. And he started talking about new towns, and all I thought was, poor Dave and all this driving. Like, even more opportunities for it to cross over with a child's birthday.
Mate, yeah, that's always my stress. With my mother-in-law wants to book our little trip to the Isle of Wight again for next year. And the place that we stayed in this year was like absolutely gorgeous. Like, it was so nice. Well out of our price range. But this is like her treat. She takes us away for this and she insists on it. So no trying to be like, well, what if we split it or do that? She's like, nope, this is my treat for my grandchildren. And you're like, okie dokie. But the place has changed its policy, so it's now only, I think it's like Saturday to Saturday or Friday to Friday. So you have to go for 7 days.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, what do I do? Because it's one thing being like, do you know what? I'm going to nip away for a wrestling show on the day that we're on holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have to get a ferry from the Isle of Wight to Portsmouth or Southampton and then drive to wherever it is and then drive back and get the ferry back. And you're like, realistically, I'm being a bit rude at this point to just bugger off the whole day on a holiday that someone's paid for. So I suspect there will be at least a couple of shows next year that I can't get to. I've been very, very lucky this year.
Yeah.
But literally, like, even like this weekend, FantasticaMania is on Saturday and it's my little boy's birthday on Sunday, so I got away with that.
Yeah.
My wife's birthday, my wedding anniversary, both the girls' birthdays, they were all just happened to be Rev Pro 3 weekends. There's not many of them, so that's quite fortunate. But it's all right. It will kill me ever so slightly, but it's not the end of the world. We'll see what I have to miss. The fact that I missed MJF last year. And the random Sheffield show I missed happened to have the Sheffield match of the year on. With the Luke Jacobs and Conor Mills one that everybody loved.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Of course, mate.
You can't do it all.
No, you can't. I mean, look, my calendar already is getting crazy booked up for next year. I think I've got something like 15 things booked in for next year already.
Like, are they mainly gigs?
Oh, pretty much all gigs. Mostly gigs and a comedy show. I've got a 1-day festival booked in. I'm waiting for Download to announce in the next couple of weeks to determine whether I'm going for a day or whether I'm going for a full weekend. And I know Download usually crossed over with the J Cup, which I really enjoy going to. So if it's a day ticket Download, it might be a one nighter at the J Cup and then Download the next day or something like that. But I mean, what I am doing when I'm looking at them is I'm looking going, are these on weeknights or are they on a Friday, Saturday, or a Sunday? And primarily, I would say about 80 to 90% of what I've booked so far is a weeknight, which is great, because then it means that if something does get announced, it's interesting. And obviously, we've got the dates there for London. So yeah, I'm going to try and keep those.
You'd imagine the other ones will start coming out.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily they're going to be out like in the next couple of weeks, but before the end of this year, we'll have the new flirt, obviously.
100%.
So you'd imagine every couple of weeks a venue will be announced, because it must be a big task for Andy to, one, nail all the dates down, but also get all of the venues to be able to work around one another, and also leave some free weekends for when he thinks, high stakes will be and uprising and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which comedian are you going to see?
A guy called Troy Hawk. I don't know if you've seen him before. He dresses in a smoking jacket, has like a thin mustache.
About one here.
We have. Yeah, I'm going
Talks
to
to
see
people
him
on the
again.
street, right?
Yeah, he does, and I think that's towards the end of next year. I'm going to see him. Yeah, he's fantastic. I love him. He's
Oh,
a
that'd be cool.
pure like just good time comedian. Like not trying to rip the piss out of anyone too much. It's all like done in fun. Bit of
Yeah, yeah.
positivity around it, and I love like from our conversations, I love ripping the piss. I love like that kind of comedy, but sometimes it's nice to get a fresh kind of one on it. But my biggest one that I've got is I'm going to Wembley Stadium to see My Chemical Romance on a Friday
Got
night,
you.
and then the following morning I'm going to Nebworth to go to see Iron Maiden. But
Oh my lord.
so I'm taking my dad to that. That's his Christmas present, and I've got to work out the logistics now of how we're going to arrange that. And I think at this stage he's just going to have to come to London. I think I'm going to have to drive to Richmond, get across central London, get in the hotel, leave my dad in the hotel for the night. He's not the most streetwise of people, so he will just stay in the hotel for the evening by himself, watch a bit of telly, whatnot. And then in the morning, the plan is to potentially drive up to Nebworth. I haven't worked that bit out yet because
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of people leaving there that day. And do I
Yep.
really want to try and drive home from Stevenage at the end of the night? Or I don't know. I haven't worked out. That's future George's problem. We'll work that out later. But that's my big one I got for next year. So yeah.
Well, if that's future George's problem, let's talk past George. Did
Well,
you enjoy Southampton on Sunday?
I did cheap plug before I speak about past George. You mentioned earlier. You touched on Sheffield Match of the Year. I'm gonna start getting everything in place for Match of the Year or awards, end of year awards, because we are in mid
Blimey, we're
October.
there already.
So, I mean, we'll obviously have to have a conversation about when we're going to record this because we haven't done that yet. But what I'm going to do is I think I've already made the somewhat executive decision. You'll tell me if you'll disagree. I don't think you will. Of I'm not going to put the award stuff out until the day following Uprising because
Sounds
at
good
that
to me. We've
point,
got, we've
all
got a
we
nice little
yeah
little window, haven't we? Post uprising
we do.
before, and then after that, you've just got one more show of the year, right? Which
I
is
figured seasons do change. Yeah.
realistically not gonna change anybody's matches of the year and things like that. I imagine that's
I
gonna be a very
yeah.
family friendly Christmas show.
So do I, and that was kind of the reason behind it. If we get that done, and then if something big does come out, and we want to give people the opportunity to go, hey, do you want to revise anything? Maybe we will. Maybe by that point we'll have recorded and put out. Who knows? But anyway, past George, did George like Southampton? Yes, I did. I thought it was a good show. It was really interesting. I was speaking with someone before I went in, and we were talking about the card, and I said this was a really interesting card for me. In that, when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, it's not a bad card, and I think that's just like a blindness to the fact of how many shows I'm going to at the moment,
Mm.
where I'm so used to seeing so many of these wrestlers that it's kind of like, okay, what would have been a top level, wow, this is a really fantastic card for me, is now yeah, this is a good card. When in actual
We
fact,
do
when I
take
then,
it for granted, don't we?
yeah, we do a bit.
But that
And
Robbie
that's,
X and Luke Jacobs just opening the show with an absolute I don't know how
yeah,
long it went, but it felt like it was like a 10-minute banger.
yeah,
It
exactly.
probably went longer than 10 minutes, but it didn't feel like it did. It just felt like a sprint.
Yeah, and then so you got that as a match. You then have like Kanji on the show. You got Rio on the show. You got Michael Oku. You got Connor Mills. You got Jay Joshua. Um, you got JJ Gale. Whether you like him or not, David Francisco is there. Like all these people, like who have all got history with the venue, with the company, like long term, short term, all that sort of stuff are all there, and they're big names in British wrestling that we, like I said, at times I can take for granted just because you're so used to seeing them. It's almost like a
Yeah.
okay. And then so as we went through, I was like, yeah, I think I come out of this thinking probably a seven out of 10 for this show for me. The high moments were generally quite high. I think that's a fair mark for me. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, mate. I feel like it was maybe because of the position I take in Southampton, I feel like the action was probably hotter than the crowd.
Yeah, I've actually got a point where I want to touch on that in a bit. Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think the crowd weren't necessarily like into it. I think they were. I just feel like.
Oh, I was wondering whether Dave was pondering his words there, or whether he was Oh, Dave, if you can hear me, my friend.
To you,
Oh, you're back. Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm about to boot you, but your face just came back. So yeah, no, I know what you mean,
it's
and
the other way around. You disappear.
weird. This is what happens when you don't pay for technology and you just have to use open technology.
Gremlins.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. But yeah,
I feel like the crowd were into it. They were very, very into it. So it's not a criticism of anybody. It wasn't as loud as it normally is in Southampton, and I think that's just because the chants died out before they really got going. I think if it had been a louder crowd, we'd probably add an extra like half or even point onto the rating out of 10.
Yeah.
I feel like the action was really, really good.
Yeah.
Well paced. Good mixture of build to Leon, build to Uprising, build to like who knows where. Significant moments like the stuff with like Sons of Southampton obviously being a big talking point. The return of Kuro, who I thought was a standout. The debut of Lil Mars, there was just loads of stuff going on. Really enjoyed the Cameron Kai and Nino Bryant match as well. But the fact that for me that was the highlight of the first half, and then you look at the rest of the first half, and it had Leon Cage wrestling Will Caven, it had Kanji versus Zoe Lucas, and it had Luke Jacobs versus Robbie X. And we're saying Cameron Kai versus Nino Bryant was the highlight. Kind of goes to show how consistent everybody delivered.
Yeah, I think I was a good match. I think for me the opener was the highlight of the first half, and I think I slightly disagree with you on the pacing of the show. I actually felt that the pacing for me felt a little bit dragged out more in the first half. But I think I think some of that was through crowd reaction. I'll talk about that shortly. I think that's what played into it rather than necessarily anything people in the ring were doing. I'll add to that because sometimes that for me, like the crowd engagement does affect that. But I will agree with you that this would probably been a 7.5 if some of the engagement factors were higher. Where I thought there was a lot of crowd engagement, though, and I want to kick off with, is the main event. Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but what we got was not what I was expecting. I was not expecting this venue-wide brawl that just kicked. I was just not expecting that, but I really enjoyed it. Sometimes we talk on here about how there is like, and we should have expected it in some ways, right? Because they got mugged last week. Right, these are men in Sha Samuels and Michael Oku who are very proud men, and they're not going to go in there and wrestle a technical exhibition after that, right? Mills and Jay are out for blood, quite literally out for blood. They want the title, and in Mills's case, probably want the recognition and actually get the win over Michael Oku, forever in his shadow to some degree. So I feel like actually the way it started, we should have expected that, or at least that's what the story dictates. So I thought it was a great start to the match.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's how the match should have gone. I just don't think I necessarily expected it to go like it did. So it was a really welcome surprise that it did. The visuals were incredible of just a really, really heavily bloodied Sha, like he was bleeding a lot, just getting manhandled by Jay Joshua. Like, really, I'm really into this, and I'm really interested to see what happens with Leon, because I know there's lots of people that really wanted to see it at in Wales, and we were talking about it last week. That we just assumed it was going to be the big heavyweight clash in Wales, but it still very much could be, couldn't it? Because There is no reason to say that they could not run both shows. There's going to be very few crossover between the Leon crowd and the Wales crowd. So there is no reason why Jay could not win in Leon and then carry the belt into Wales and defend it in his home country. Or Sha finds a way to just about survive, or even there be some kind of controversial finish, which you can absolutely get away with when you're running a show in a city you've never been to before. They're going to be so excited to see Rev Pro and to see all the British wrestlers and to showcase their own French wrestlers, that you can absolutely do a screwy finish, but do it well. And I do think Rev Pro do the dirty finish well. And then you have to rematch in Wales. So that there's definitely loads of direction here. For me, this isn't a case of Sha's going to beat Jay and then move on to somebody else.
Yeah,
that
I think
might
that's
be
it.
what happens. But there's loads of things to suggest that it might not be what happens. So I'm into it.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think I immediately thought that. I mean, we said about Jay going up against Sha, right? And we were expecting it to be this big match. And it might sound hyperbolic to people when I'm saying that for me, Jay Joshua winning the title in Cardiff from Sha Samuels could well be on the level of like Rev Pro's version of Steve Austin or The Rock. Dave, if you can hear me, you've disappeared again, my friend. So I'm just waiting for it to bring you back. But yeah, I feel like this could be a huge moment for the there he is. I feel like, could you hear me when I was saying all of that? Oh, he looks very stoic. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, it could be like a big Rock Austin moment, like the crowd really behind him. Like, when I say, and that, people were going, "What the fuck are you talking about, Rock Austin?" But I just mean like people. He's so into Jay, like. He to me is I think the only other person that's got that cachet that is likely, and when I say likely, because that means I'm discounting Leon Slater entirely, right? I'm discounting Connor Mills slightly because I think people love him and would be into it. But I think the only two people in Rev Pro that have got that cachet that the place would explode if they won it is Jay or Manders. They are genuinely the two that I think would get that result for. So Jay and Cardiff,
something that Jay's got that Mills doesn't have is Jay's got the hot Welsh crowd.
Yeah,
Welsh crowds are notorious in Britain for being like really good crowds, really avid wrestling fans, and being, it's the same with the Scots and it's the same with the Irish. They really get behind their people. And they really get behind their sons and daughters of their country.
Yeah.
Whereas Mills is a London lad, and that's very, very different. Like London is a very, very different place. Like look at Sha Samuels. He's an East London lad who doesn't immediately get the love of London just because he's from London, because London is such a diverse place in itself, and people from all over come into London. I think it's much, much harder if you've got that regionality in other parts of the country, like a big Leon Slater moment in Yorkshire or a big JJ Gal moment in the South Coast. Like they will mean more than somebody who's from London. I think they've got it harder to get that hometown crowd because London's too big of a place. And mate, I think you're spot on, because Jay's got that huge ground support, and he's got the Welsh factor, and he's got the fact that he's just so bloody good.
Yeah,
like
so
could be massive. The only thing is like no one's going to be cheering for Sha, because the support for Jay will be so strong. So they can't really. If they do it in Wales, if they do Jay versus Sha as a second time round, they're going to have to just accept the fact that Sha's going to have to like he's not going to be able to go in and play the veteran babyface. He's going to have to mix it up a bit.
And I think that's fine. So when we were speaking about, so we obviously spoke about Jay. Does he win the title? I think Jay winning the title. I would really like the fact that Jay has worked his arse off and he's been given the ball to run with. Right, I think the lad has earned the opportunity, and he's done it in a really organic way as well. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that Rev Pro can do is have Jay win it in front of a foreign crowd. And that sounds like I'm being really like, I want it for me. And look, I won't admit there is part of me that wants it for me. But I think with a lot of us who go, a lot of us who travel, that have spent a lot of time going, watching the matches, talking to Jay, like, and really building that connection. Like, he's a master of doing that. And we all want to be there to celebrate that moment with him, which is where I don't think you get the same level of crowd engagement if he wins it in Leon. But
No, I agree.
And initially, I thought that maybe, well, this is Jay loses back of the line, because I don't think a London crowd would take it very well. I don't think a Cardiff crowd, or sorry, not Cardiff, a Wolverhampton crowd, I don't think anywhere you go would take it well, all right, because of how likable Jay is. So I think doing it there, it felt like you could do two things. One, you could have him lose, which I don't think works well. I think a screwy finish, like you've said, is the perfect ending to that match, because we've already had Sha beat Jay in tag team competition. We've already had Sha beat Jay, I believe, in singles competition as well.
Yeah.
So do you want to go down that route again? Can you get a way out of it that means that Sha retains? But also, when you said there about they have to accept that Sha going into the match would have him as maybe not the babyface. One of Sha's best ever performances I've seen with my own eyes was going into Southampton. And we've said it, John Cena at the ECW arena, when Sha was given something a bit more off kilter and interesting to go with. And I said this to the guy, right, on Sunday. I mean, I didn't say this bit to him because I thought this might be a kick in the teeth, but I've said on here, I like the guy, I think he's got value, but I felt that something was off with how quickly he was put in that position, and we had to try and get Sha to the level that felt like on the same level as everyone else. Now that he's got the title, the work and performances he's put in, because he's doing interesting stuff, has gone up, right? Whether that's what you want long term or not is another thing. I don't want it long term. I think there's a place for it now, and I want to give the dignity around that. I don't want it to be a Joker run. I want it to be treated the same way every champion is treated and made to look good. But there will be time that change is needed, and I think it would be really interesting having him go into Coventry as a perceived heel by the crowd. I think that'd be great.
Going into Wales?
Sorry, Wales, yes. Cardiff, I meant, not Coventry.
There we go, that's a C came in with you. So question for you, mate. If you're Andy Quilden, and obviously you're playing with the cards that we think Andy's got. So we think that he could put the belt on Jay Joshua. Yeah. He's not going to put the belt on Connor Mills because we've got Connor versus Oku at Uprising, so that feels like we're not going to see Mills challenging for it this year. We think that if he wanted Manders to be at Uprising, he'd be able to get Manders for Uprising. We think that he has Leon Slater, but there's obviously the question marks over, do you strap up Leon Slater when his long-term future is very unclear because of the fact that Rev Pro is no longer his home promotion. For you, do you book Jay to lose in France and win in Wales? Or do you book Jay to lose in France and Manders to win in Wales, or something else?
I think I would do. Look, if we had taken, or if we'd still had on the board a tag title win, which is where I thought we were going. I thought we were back of the QJ, off go, do something interesting for a little bit of time, and he'll come back round to it. Now that looks like it's going to be Good Brothers versus Young Guns to me, given that they're back at November's Live in London 102, 101.
101, yeah.
Yep, and you've got to think that there's no events in between now and Cardiff, no big shows other than FantasticaMania, Leon, those kinds of things. So they're going to have to build to that. And realistically, I think we said I've got cage match in front of me now. Between, if we take FantasticaMania and Leon out of it, 1, 2, 3, 4 shows before Uprising, being Live in London 101, Sheffield, Coventry, and Live in London 102. They are your shows, unless they somehow turn up at Repro Contenders in December, which I would be surprised if they were there. Then that's what we'll.
I think that show's also moved forwards to November as well, from what they said at the Contenders show.
Has it? Okay, yeah.
Saturday.
Fine, makes sense.
They said they'd be back in November, and I don't know if that's an addition or if that's a replacement, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But I
would imagine a replacement, because that's the night of AEW in Cardiff, and respectfully, I think people like Michael Oku and Amira might be somewhere else rather than at the Buckland Dome.
Oku is wrestling the next Contenders show. The main event will be Oku and Elvin Narayan versus Will Caven, and someone Will Caven can recruit as a partner.
Oh, I love that. I love that Oku.
So that's a cool one. But the fact that Oku and Amira gave up their Saturday nights to support a Contender show is just testament to how invested they are in everything Rev Pro is.
So yes. So to answer your question, then, without going down a whole rabbit hole, I would have Jay be the one to take the title. I think you've got interesting matches you can do with that run. Like you can do Jay versus Luke. You can do Jay versus Oku. You can have Jay versus Manders, and you can have Jay versus Mills. Depending on the route they want to go with. So that's what I would do. Give Manders something interesting.
You've listed the 4 matches I want to see the most there.
Yeah, and where it comes to Leon Slater, I think now Leon Slater is the short run import in terms of how he's booked. Mm-hmm. When we get someone like Leo Rush for 4 or 5 shows and go, let's build a mini program, or even Manders, a mini program around it, and that something that isn't going to be
Leo's
massive.
The perfect example, isn't he? Because obviously Leo last year won the J Cup, and then scheduling his title shot for the J Cup clearly wasn't as smooth as they would like. If it were me, I don't think I would risk putting the belt on Leon Slater. I think he's enough of a draw to get him in a cool program, and he's only going to become a bigger draw.
Yeah, that's
it. The more he does in other companies, the more people are going to know him. Kids at school now, they know who Leon Slater is when I talk about him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not just the wrestling nerds at school that I can talk to and be like, and they know who Luke Jacobs is, and they know who Oku is, and people like that. Because we have proper wrestling fans at school, which is cool. It's come out. I think that's
Leon's
it's been lovely to introduce them to it. But Leon, because he's on NXT,
his cultural cache's gone through the roof. Like he was a guy that was part of TNA. Now, look, I don't watch NXT, right? I don't watch a lot of WWE. I've said this. I put on the NXT where they were talking about like the teams they were going to get for Team WWE versus Team TNA, or Team NXT versus Team TNA, right? And it was very telling that like they did the WWE team, right, or the NXT team. You had people like Ricky Starks on there, which, given how like he's been perceived, and then they do this whole team of TNA, and the last person, right, the person they highlight is Leon Slater, right? He's already had the rub from AJ Styles as well. And then you kind of look at that and go, this is crazy. He had a match on NXT. Like, the guy's now worked in the WWE system, right? I'm also going to say
on NXT as well, right?
Yeah, he's down for NXT again next week.
It's not like take like a Joe Hendry, where Joe Hendry did a few bits with WWE. Obviously, he wrestled at WrestleMania, which is massive.
Yeah.
But he didn't win anything.
Leon Slater has been handled in a completely different way.
Very much so.
You know what? respectfully, so he fucking should be, because Joe Hendry,
Yeah.
to me, is a meme. Leon Slater has everything.
Joe Hendry's done incredibly well to get himself over and put in positions that realistically he wouldn't have got in any other way. Whereas Leon Slater is a genuine, like, a prospect that every promotion in the world must be looking at thinking, there's so much potential there that we can make serious money from this man. Like, WWE could make money from Joe Hendry, but it would be a limited amount of money in a limited amount of time until the I believe in Joe Hendry stuff becomes boring and stale, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas Leon's got like 15 to 20 years of top level wrestling in him.
So I'm going to go through a little bit of a list here, right? So I'm looking at Twitter now, and I've just typed in Leon Slater, okay? The first tweet is Leon talking about, showing a graphic of him defending the X Division title on NXT next week. You've got there numerous people talking about their match at Bound for Glory. You've got some great guy who's on a podcast talking about showing a video of Leon Slater taking out Michael Oku, who was live on Instagram during a match at the 229. Wonder what happened to that guy. You've then got people like Simon Miller talking about the match, right? You've got Wrestle Talk, people that are aware of him. You've then got Sean Ross Sapp talking about the finish of the match, right? These are people that were going, these are people in the industry that are known, who have thought of highly. People showing like the graphic of Michaels and Bret Hart Iron Man match as Leon and Javon Slater, like Javon Evans, sorry. Like, these are like just the level that he's gone up. So I don't think it's controversial. Yeah, it's so cool, and I don't think it's controversial to say that Leon Slater is the biggest name in the British scene. Okay, well, on the men's side. Okay, I think when you like people regularly wrestling on the scene, I think
he is the biggest name. Period. Personally,
well, the reason I was worried, like thinking about that, was because I was thinking, well, I just prefaced it with working on the scene currently is because I don't see Alex Windsor as working the scene anymore. I see her as
even then. No, I think that this is where.
I think she's of the regulars who are
she
working.
Probably is.
They're the closest.
Although WWE, I think, is still levels and levels and levels above AEW in terms of exposure and exposing. The fan base is so much bigger. You are comparing NXT, not Raw and SmackDown. So actually, I think it's neck and neck. But I agree.
They are people that are wrestling on international TV. And I think that where that is that higher step, that Michael Oku is going out doing bit parts, right? As it currently stands, he's not being put in promotion versus promotion team matches. So
and hopefully he will get more opportunities.
Absolutely, yeah.
But Leon's a couple of steps ahead at the moment, isn't he?
Exactly, and he's opening people's eyes up to what it's about. He's, like you said, he's only going to get bigger and bigger. So there is no way I can see Leon Slater being able to become champion unless it is like a 2-3 week thing. I genuinely do not see it. And look, it sucks because you want the guy to be forever in that like lineage of those champions, right? When you look at that title belt and you see Katsuyori Shibata, you see Tanahashi, you see AJ Styles, Jushin Thunder Liger, that then Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., it then lifts your Michael Oku up, it lifts your Luke Jacobs up, and it lifts up your Leon Slater. So when someone 10 years from now picks that title up, they go, look at all of these people before that held this belt, like the history of it. It just sucks you don't have him in that, but
it's like
it's not the end of the world.
Leon not holding the belt would be the equivalent of the fact that Gabe Kidd never got to hold it.
Yeah.
And you think how big, and I think in a few years' time, hopefully not sooner rather than later, but we're going to be talking about Gabe Kidd as being this enormous star of Japanese pro wrestling.
Oh, I
And
think
him being the like gaijin in New Japan, like
Yeah.
the number one foreign guy,
Yeah.
even above Zack Sabre Jr. Because I'm hoping that there'll be like a passing of the torch moment, even though Zack's still actually really young in a wrestling career sense. But in terms of Gabe reaching Zack's level, in terms of how he's seen in New Japan, and the fact that Gabe never held the title it's not like it's a missed opportunity, because I watched Gabe's run in Rev Pro, like the tail end of it. I watched obviously all of 2022 and 2023 when he was regular in Rev Pro, and it never felt like there was the moment. It was Gabe or RKJ.
Yeah.
In terms of when we were looking at the Rev Pro 10th anniversary, but that they went with Ricky, and it felt right to go with Ricky at the time. Ricky's the perception of Ricky in 2025 is so different to the perception of him in 2022, when he was like our Lord and Savior to bring the title away from the evil Will Ospreay, which is a cool thing. I find it really interesting, because I feel like if we'd been having this discussion even a month ago, Jay Joshua would not be in the conversation for me.
No.
To be the next undisputed British heavyweight champion.
No.
It's not because I don't want him to be. I just didn't feel like that was how he was going to be presented.
Yeah, it's Pandora's
box. They've really put the rocket on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting because we've done Sha and Oku, we've done Sha and Jacobs, we've done Sha and Ricky. They're your top three guys in terms of they've all been the champ, and it would be quite easy to make them champ again. Luke's championship run, we've never had. It never was what we wanted it to be.
Look, I'm just gonna say it for what it was. It was terrible. Like,
Ricky's had two title runs. Neither of them, like the first one, was hampered by the fact that they had to change the plans because of his injury, which was just really disappointing for everybody involved. And his second run was really purposeful. It worked for the brilliant story they told with Sha.
Can I say something that's going to be controversial on that? I think that his second title run was a massive success because
I completely agree, mate.
Because of what so like I know some people didn't like the vignettes he did, like the stuff with Dave Bradshaw, because I know some people felt some people felt like it was a bit too like hammy, a bit too like overacted. I actually felt that Ricky has at times been ramblesome on promos, but when he got that belt, it felt like you said purposeful was the right word. Yeah. Everything was done with purpose. There wasn't anything controversial in what he said, and what I mean by that is we've had certain words used in promos where people have been like, "Oh, that's not very good," and I understand the critique and criticism around it. But no, I think everything he did was done really well. And whether you like Ricky Knight Jr., whether you think he's a good wrestler to the level you want, or like the criticism that I've leveled out of, and we've both said at times it's felt like it's not been cohesive the entire time. What he did at Crystal Palace that night for Sha, I don't think anyone could have put someone over more in their life or helped to get someone over more than he did. Like literally taking bump downstairs in chairs. Like
yeah. But I still want a dominant Ricky Knight Jr. heel championship run. So I still fully hope and believe that we will get that down the line. I don't think that's going to be an uprising.
No.
So for me, it's if we've chosen not to do Luke Jacobs, we've chosen not to do Oku, we've chosen not to do RKJ, although they could do the rematch with RKJ. That is more on the table than Oku and Jacobs is, given that they've had shots at it. I don't think they will do Ricky and Sha at Uprising. Mm-hmm. So then, it does feel like, well, your next three would be Mills, Jay Joshua, and if he's going to be back, Manders.
Yeah.
In which case, I'm very happy with Manders. I'm very happy with Jay. I think I like the dynamic with Jay more, and I think the moment would be more special in
So do I.
Wales.
Yeah.
What I'm interested though is, do you think therefore we'll get Mills and Joshua's Great British Tag League title shot at Live in London 102?
Yes, I do, and I think that has a finish that leads
Do you think
to.
that is against Young Guns, or do you think it's against Sha and Oku?
Oh, that's interesting because I think Shah is somehow involved. I think so. Kind of where my mind's going right now. Screwy finish happens in Leon, which causes some resentment that leans over into 101, causing something to happen with Shah and Oku and Jay and Jay, because I don't know if Mills is around at that point. Then leads into 102, where I think we then have similar, and I think on those shows you have the Good Brothers picking up wins as well, because I think the Good Brothers will be there for 102 as well.
Yep, I do too.
Or one of the shows in between, maybe. They're picking up wins and getting themselves in contention, while the other teams are then dropping to the back of the queue. That's how I think we get there.
Does that feel like a satisfying end to the tag league for you?
Look, no, because I think that it's kind of like, I kind of look at it like a Royal Rumble win, right? To me, it is the Royal Rumble win. Is you win the tag league, you go on and you win the belts, and it would be like a really nice bookend to how we started the year with Jay and Mills with the belts, that great match at Wolverhampton at Epic Encounter, and then bookend it by having the return match, and that's where the belts go. After that reign Young Guns had in the middle. But if the reason we're not getting that is because we're strapping up Jay Joshua, then while it's not satisfying in the normal sense, and I'm having a lot of fun with Young Guns as champs.
So I found that really fascinating, because you've literally, everything you've said I completely agree with.
Yeah, which is very rare for us, mate.
Yeah. It doesn't, in theory, it doesn't feel satisfying that Great British Tag League winners don't get their title shot on a big show and they don't win the belts, and that them losing their shot at the belts is part of a different story. When that story leads to Mills and Oku, which I'm so excited for.
Yeah.
3 years I've gone to shows weekly waiting for them to come back together. And then Jay versus Shah, if everything we're saying is correct and we get Shah versus Jay at Uprising, we know we've got Oku versus Mills at Uprising.
Mm-hmm.
If all of this leads to that, and Young Guns retain against the Good Brothers, so we're going into 2026 on the back of a long, dominant, successful Young Guns run, where they've done the Tag League winners, they've done Oku and Shah, they've done the Grizzled Young Veterans, they've done CPF, they've done the Good Brothers. That's going to make me feel like the tag team division is back with a dominant tag team, which kind of goes all the way back to when it was Aussie Open and Sunshine Machine.
Yeah, and
you had these two powerhouse tag teams.
Yeah, I think what you've got to do when you have a tag division, you've got to have 2/3 teams who, and I always say this, right, in the division you should have your main eventers, your upper mid card, and your mid carders, right? And so for me, one that more people can kind of understand culturally, if you're at a certain level, was WWE Attitude Era, right? Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys were your main eventers. Or in the singles, it was Rock, Austin, and Triple H, right? You then had your next level down, which in the tag teams back then would have probably been New Age Outlaws,
APA.
See? And then from there you had Too Cool, Kai and Ty, people like that who Too Cool might get a tag win, right? And they might become champions for a month or so, but then they lose it back to one of the big teams. And then the only people that then, what you then do is you then use Frankenstein teams of The Rock and The Undertaker beat Edge and Christian, But then the following week,
Rock and Sock connection.
yeah, Sha and Oku. Okay, so
Yeah.
Sha and Oku here, that Frankenstein team could get the win over Young Guns, right? Because of how big they are in the company. But then you've got like your Hardy Boys, or sorry, your other two ones might then interact, and they might cost Rock and Undertaker match, i.e. Mills and Joshua. So there's that kind of storytelling. The other thing we actually do say as well a lot, and this is where we kind of have to hold ourselves to account a little bit, is we always go, no, we don't want tropes in our wrestling. And we're going, that's not satisfying as we hope, because that trope hasn't occurred. And actually, fine.
With you.
And it's look, what.
Because if every time a Rumble winner wins the belt, and every time a J Cup winner wins the belt, and every time a Tag League winner wins the belt, you've lost the suspension of disbelief, and you've lost the competitive side of the competition.
Could it happen? And look, we always said as WWE fans back in the day, what happens when someone doesn't get a Money in the Bank cash in, right? What does that mean? And this is where I kind of briefly started to say earlier, Pandora's box for me, right? We've all dared to dream a little bit with Jay, but it was never seen to be presented as an opportunity. We've opened that now because we've shown Jay going for the belt. So we're showing that this could be a possibility. And that is what gets people from a, hey, this match is cool, but I really wish Jay got his shot. And we could, like, we've all had that where, whether it's wrestling, whether it's an underground band, we go, I really want to see them get their opportunity or something. And then they do. And you go, right, well, now we know this is a possibility here. Now we want to see it go to the next level. So I think that while we don't want tropes, I think they are going to go down this route, and this is a very big route. That it's a tightrope exercise for Red Pro to walk along, because we are looking. Dare I say it? Jay is Daniel Bryan back around WrestleMania 30 with a groundswell of public support. That if you are presenting this plan and you're telling a story where he's not going to win it straight away, please don't leave us where that's never going to happen. We need to see that.
Andy talks quite often, doesn't he, about how there are only so many metrics that he can use to judge his company's success.
Mm-hmm.
And that is ticket sales, the on-demand subscribers,
mm-hmm.
and the sound of the crowd in the room they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to know what Andy thought at the end of Live in London 100.
Yeah.
When his babyface champion's been done over by the big heel, and the crowd were almost unanimously in support of the heel over the babyface. And it feels like they're the sorts of moments where, as a booker, I can only imagine, because obviously I've never booked a wrestling show, that you stop and you think to yourself,
I've got something.
Well, one, he might be sitting there patting himself on the back thinking this is all part of my clever plan that I'm plotting. Or he might look at it and think, maybe we need to change the plan here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, ultimately, you kind of do have to give the people what they want. You don't always have to give it to them when they think they want it.
Yeah.
And you can give it to them, you know, and that must be hard to judge. But ultimately, you've got to give people what they want because that's what they're paying for.
I think there's the instant gratification that has taken, just in general society, like how you consume products, right? We are in more of an instant gratification culture, which sometimes let the story play out needs to happen a bit more. And I've been guilty of it at times as well when I've watched WWE with AEW. But all I want, and I've said this all the time, I just want to see progression. And you don't have to give me the progression every week, but just give me every other week, give me that little bit more progression. Show me that we're still working towards something here. I think the one we used last year was the trophies. Just show me that the trophies still have a purpose, because we've still got a trophy out there, which we don't know what's going on with that, right? And like, again, these are the sorts of things that we talk about as well. Again, this is where it is hard being the wrestling booker. You don't have these people contracted, so cut a bit of slack. But I think you've got the instant gratification. Like you said, you don't give instant gratification because then you're just the product isn't being booked by a booker; it's being booked by the whims of the crowd, right? And so you've got to balance the long-term sustainability of how you get there with the zeitgeist of the crowd. And that's why when I mentioned Daniel Bryan, Look at what happened when it felt like we're not giving the crowd what they want here. The crowd
Yeah.
eventually got there. So, and look, I've heard Andy on podcasts before say, well, our plan was to actually intentionally, and this wasn't about RevPro, I'll add, this is IPW said, our plan was really for the two guys to go out and have the most boring main event possible so the crowd would chant boring. And it's like, okay, you've got to, you can do things that might be a bit against the grain sometimes and have people react a certain way, and I kind of get it, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and go, this is the moment, this is the time, do it. That's kind of my view on it anyway.
For Uprising,
Yeah.
we're thinking Sha and Jay rematch,
Mm-hmm.
Mills versus Oku,
Yeah.
Good Brothers versus Young Guns.
Yeah.
Two more things then from Southampton. Leon Cage versus Nino Bryan.
Yes.
JJ Gal versus David Francisco.
Yes. So that puts us on 5. I'm thinking Manders versus someone. Manders versus Leo
Ricky Knight Jr. has not happened yet, and Ricky Knight Jr. has not been mentioned here.
Yeah.
Mercedes Monet versus Rio.
Yeah. Mercedes Monet in there, and then Leon Cage versus Nino Bryan.
So there's 7 there. And then you'd imagine we're either going to get some kind of let's get lots of other people on the card in a nice little match, or something with an AEW wrestler. Or I can't imagine they do a Mercedes match and not have Kanji on the card, given that I still feel the long-term story is with Mercedes and Kanji.
Also,
if Kanji's in Mercedes' corner, Danny Luna's in town. Yes, I wonder where the land lies with the idea of that Danny versus Mercedes match they teased.
Same,
which
she's in Cardiff that day for Attack.
It definitely one of those ones where it feels like let's tease it and then we'll decide afterwards if we can actually do it or not.
Yeah,
let's take the opportunity to show it, because it's not like they over teased it. It's not like they've promised anybody anything.
Just
They've
enough.
just got everybody to picture it and think, "Ooh, I'd like to see that."
Yeah.
Leon Cage and Nino Bryan, you happy about that?
Yep. Yeah, happy with that. I feel that we
Leon wins.
Well, I'm not so sure. I think
the Welsh boy in Wales.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I feel like this is going to heavily rest on the fight for the future, right? And who won the last fight for the future?
Leon won the fight for the future, so does Nino balance it out now?
Yeah. Do we?
Mate, is it me, or is Nino Bryan having a really good run as Cruiserweight champion?
He is. You know what? I haven't
very quietly.
Yeah.
Like no one's in hysterics over it, but it's very, very quietly been very consistently.
Yes.
Like strong booking for Nino in his singles matches.
Yeah, agreed.
He's done Will Caven, he's done Robbie X, he's done Joe Lando, now he's done Cameron Kai.
Yeah.
He's on. I think I looked at it the other day. I think he's on average. He's a defense a month.
Yeah, he is, and he's active with it, and that's what we want, right? Look, I was like, okay, not bad. Like Nino is someone that I thought was, like you said, very consistent and is good, but not like necessarily blow me away. And he's a young lad, right? There's times where I go, this is really cool, but I've been like, okay, cool, right? We'll see what happens. But he's been very good every time, no matter his opponent. And like consistent is the right word to use there. The one thing I haven't liked in how Nino's characters come across, and that's why I'm wondering about the booking. He has seemed a bit whiny at times, right?
I knew you were going to say that.
And for a babyface, I do not like a whiny babyface, right? Because it just doesn't look good. But we've got him being whiny. We've got Xander being grumpy. Could a win?
Leland being sleepy.
Yeah. Could a win at Uprising, knowing again, like where we go, Sha's going to have to lean into it for one match, but that would be it. Are we going in knowing that that Nino's going to come out of it booed, most likely, because of it.
Mm.
And that just gives a bit more grit to his personality. I don't know. I could, again,
I reckon Nino could pull off a dickhead pretty well.
so do I. Yeah, and I think, yeah. And we've already
that could be quite fun to see.
I mean, I think of it as well. You could have a trios match, right? Nino, Robbie, and Will Caven, all dickheads together, right?
I quite also like the idea of like the dickheads who can't actually work together because they're all too big of dickheads.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's that there. I'd like that Leon got the win over Caven, because it just felt like we're putting him back to where he was going to be.
And that was also like that was for me. That was a little flex of Andy's booking that he could just pull that match together because you're like,
yeah,
this is Leon Page's first announced match back against the opponent that he had his first ever Rev Pro match with.
Yeah.
Against the opponent that he was booked to have a match with when he became injured.
Yeah.
We've now told the story that it's almost like had he not been injured, he would be undisputed British Cruiserweight Champion now.
Yeah.
Because he beat the guy who had the belt. So you can only assume he would have done that at the Revolution Rumble. And it's just such a neat and tidy and symmetrical bit of booking. Yet it was also like match 3 on an 8-match card.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like the Jacobs and Robbie X match. Like Jacobs and Robbie X, that was their 6th singles match in Rev Pro.
Yeah. And it felt fresh.
And when you look at the other 5, like most of them were for a championship.
Yeah.
Like these were at a time in 2022, 2023, Robbie X and Luke Jacobs were like this massive rivalry over the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
And you can just be like, oh, we'll just dip that in. Put that in as the opening match. Announce it the day before.
You've now
the rest of the card, the rest of the card is already there in place. And another decent Southampton crowd, wasn't it, in terms of numbers of people?
Yeah, it felt busy in there yesterday, or Sunday, sorry, I should say. It felt really busy in there, actually, which is it's nice to see.
It is.
Like you want the, and I normally kind of think the closer we start getting to autumn, winter time, the more it's gonna start to peter off. That didn't happen. It was busy, and it felt consistently busy across the year as well, which is really great to see. So yeah,
definitely I can't remember when I first went to I went to all the Southampton shows last year.
Yeah.
And and my first one was the December before that. So what I can compare, and you'll be able to compare further back than me, 2025 Southampton crowd size, far more consistent than 2024.
Yes. 100%, yeah.
And some shows were really busy, some shows a little bit quieter.
There used to be a time where you could hear Andy most of the night.
Really?
Yeah. Now, noise and engagement is very different.
You wouldn't think there is commentary, would you, at a Southampton show? Because you can't see it and you can't hear it.
I get taken out of it. And look, the one thing I'll say, I pat us on the back a little bit here as well, but I think the community aspect of Southampton, like there is a community now where people will talk to each other more and they'll banter with each other, and that leads into people who may have been by themselves being a bit more afraid to start a chant, like me, have now gobshites next to them who will just start a chant like for no, and it builds into that.
And it's funny actually because I always go to Southampton with Spike, and we used to stand right at ringside, and whenever it got a little bit quiet, one of us would just start chanting, and often the crowd would join in. But now where we've moved a little bit more towards the bar, which I really, really like, 'cause it's a really unique view, and I really enjoy getting to see everything. Like, it feels really holistic. But we can't just stand at the bar and start chanting. We look like a pair of nutters. So there were times on Sunday when he and I would be like, if we were down there, we'd be starting something now, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We'd be like,
So
look, maybe we should be down there, but we had his little boy with us, so we were never going to go down there.
Of course, mate. Yeah, we're currently on 7:25. So I've got a few things I want to rattle through. I'm looking up to be transparent with people, I actually wrote a list to keep us on track, and we're an hour and 14 in, and we've ticked off one of the things on the list, because this is what we're like. We just get into a subject and we really love it. Dave, I'm going to just rattle through a very quick few things before we end on the Sons of Southampton. One thing that you just mentioned there, and I wanted to ask you, because you just reminded me, we talk about chants. Do you sometimes think, or do you disagree with me, that as great as the crowd chanting can be, and our love for a sing-song and a good chant can help a match, do you think sometimes it goes a bit much because people just like to have a good time chanting and singing and it takes away from the match? Because I do.
100%. 100%.
And I think some of that was happening there.
I'll always be scarred by Richard Holiday versus Cameron Kai, which was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt at a Rev Pro show.
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily mean those kind of chants. I just mean in general, just if you could have a chant that is going on is perfectly okay, but our love for just chanting just takes...
Yeah, because sometimes they've got to be chanted at the right times.
That's what I mean for the ebb and flow of the heat and the crowd.
They've got to be chanted with the story. I'm always thrown off when a crowd starts chanting things like, you know, fuck 'em up, so-and-so, fuck 'em up, and you're like doing that to Nino Bryan. And you're like, well, that's not Nino at all, is it? He's not fuck anybody up. That's not his thing.
Sorry, Nino. We've called you whiny and said you can't fuck anyone up.
Leon fucking K. Just like, yeah, that don't work either. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's just...
Yeah.
You've got to get the right charm for the right person, and otherwise it can be a little bit kind of... It's all in with good intention, but it's just a bit...
100%. And I can't remember exactly what match it was. But there was a match at the week on Sunday, and I felt at one point that the crowd's love of a sing-song and a chant, as well intended as it was just impacting too much. And actually, I tell you what match it was. It was Leon versus Nino. No, it wasn't. What was it? I'm going to look at the card.
Cameron versus Nino.
Cameron versus Nino. That's what I meant. Yeah, Cameron versus Nino. There was so much of it happening, and I was like, this is a big championship match where Cameron is trying to be more serious, more of a dickhead, and
which I think he did really well, by the way.
He really did, especially when we turned around to Hayden, who was giving him loads of shit, and turned around and went, "Hey mate, this one's for you," and just leathered Nino, and then turned around to him again and went, "This one's also for you," and leathered him again. Like there was like
I love that
Liam Slater's personality rubbing off on camera and giving that free.
Yeah. And do you know what? Sometimes, like for the last year or so, I felt like it just wasn't clicking for Cameron.
Yeah.
Like his trajectory was going up and up and up and up and up, and then it just
went cold. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, cool. No, we've given him a little something different now, where he gets to play with the crowd a bit more and he can be a dick.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be brilliant at it.
Yeah, same. So I think that was one thing. But then on the flip side of it, when we talked earlier about the crowd, I felt the crowd was very hot most of the night. But the two times I felt that crowd engagement dropped off massively were the two women's matches. Which is interesting.
Very much so.
Given that, and I've got a theory on what I think it is. I don't think it's anything to do with the performers involved, because everyone fucking loves Rio. Everyone loves Kanji. Zoe's in. Everyone's like, she's got such a magnetic personality that people love seeing her. And Lil Mars, I've never seen her before, but fucking hell, what was it I said? I said she reminded me of someone, like a cartoon character, but it is just that, like, there's an infectious kind of energy about her and a likability factor, right?
She reminded me a little bit of Kylie Ray, but what I imagine Kylie Ray on speed would be like.
Yeah. What I think got me a little bit was there was no, and I don't think you necessarily need this, but there was no out-and-out heel. And what that meant is, in both times, and this is crazy to say, right? This is going to be taken out of context so badly, right? But when we went over to merch, Zoe Lucas showed us her chest, right? That area I had. And she was like, Will was like, "Are you alright?" She went, "I had better days." And then she showed it. Like, fucking hell, like
Angie battered her.
she battered her. So it is crazy in hindsight to say, but it lacked some of that like feeling of aggression. Kanji certainly beat her, but it didn't feel like.
Yeah.
And the same
Mate,
happened with
it
Rio
happens a
and Lil
lot.
Mars.
It happens a lot, and I notice it's often in Coventry and occasionally in Sheffield when you've got two baby faces wrestling each other. The crowd go quiet because it's like they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And it's not like, I think it's probably a confidence thing. If I start chanting for wrestler A, are people going to join in with me? Or do I play it safe and just keep my mouth shut?
yeah,
And potentially, these are the matches that can get the best reactions because you get the dueling chants.
yeah,
You know, a dueling chant is such an easy one.
yeah. Which that's what we did on Sunday. We basically
people that need to, put their head above the parapet, doesn't it?
So I've got Will Warrener sitting next to me, and I turned around and went, Will, I think we need to get a Lil Mars chant going because because people just don't know her yet.
Do your thing, lad.
So I said, and he went to me, mate. He went, I don't think I can chant against Rio. I was like, for fuck's sake, Will, the one time I need you, like, and then I'm just sitting there, and then just out of nowhere, he just
got one job,
yeah.
Will,
and then he just goes, and he went, and then so when we started again, because we were like you said, we noticed it in the first match. When I say the first match, Kanji and Zoe, we noticed it. Like we were like, oh, don't want this to repeat again. And it did feel like it was repeating a bit. So we were like, right, let's do this, and then the rest of the crowd bounced off of us. So from the second half of that match, you had a lot of Rio chants going on, dueling chants, battling, and it definitely got better because of it. But I just don't.
That match didn't feel like it was particularly long. I wish Gadge was there. So
there's no timings, are there? I want to check that, but
I quite like that because again, I'm a big fan of varying match times.
Same.
And it felt quite Rio dominant, which I think is a very, very good thing. But I think that it's definitely, I feel like we're being led to Rio versus Mercedes coming, even more so coming off the back of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say as well, I thought Zoe did a fucking fantastic job with Kanji. I think that there's obviously, and when you're looking at terms of experience of how long wrestling, Zoe's obviously been around longer. She's seen the top of the card in the women's division actually as champion. There is an area of her career where she's just not wrestled for a while as well, and she's having to get back in. And the standard of wrestling has increased from where she probably was as well. But the more I'm seeing,
I've been watching some Zoe Lucas matches recently, actually on On Demand because I've gone back and watched the Epic Encounters matches from Pandemic. And you realise that a lot of the women that she used to wrestle were not Kanji level. No disrespect to anybody, but Kanji that's not even a disrespectful comment, is it? Because Kanji is immense. And also those matches tended to be relatively shorter. Yeah. Often going less than 10 minutes. So I do feel like, she's probably come in and just got like a point to prove to herself as much as to anybody that the women's scene in Britain has grown without her, and that she can still be a huge part of it, given how well she's done in her career in other countries. Absolutely. Do you know who, when in the year that she won the Queen of the Ring, do you know who her first round opening match opponent was with? Or was, I should say. No, I don't know, no. Amira Blair. Lovely. Really? Yeah, first round. But I thought all of the, like, just the way she was able to use flexibility, because that's a thing of Zoe, right? She's a bit taller than the rest of the women. I love, she's really got the scorpion kick back on point. There was times when, I think at the anniversary, that was a little bit rustier, but I've noticed since then, whenever she's busted it out, whether it's been in Eve, whether it's been in Red Pro, it is on point, looks great, and it's something that looks very different from other people. The
the kick in the corner, like the high angle kick, like that always looks immense. Her striking is getting better. There's still at times when if we get a bit more tightness on it, that would look really well and again set her apart. But like we said, there's probably been a lot of ring rust, and she's spent a long time over the year, like in different places, wrestling different people, and I'm seeing a progression from her from the beginning of the year.
I think that was only her third Rev Pro singles match.
Yeah.
Of the year, she's been back for 9 months. We've seen a few tag matches. We've seen the 3 singles matches. She's had time in Mexico. She's had time in the States. So she's very much like
she has. Yeah, she's been out in Barcelona.
Re-exploring the world of pro wrestling, isn't she? And this kind of like renaissance period of her career.
Let's look at some of the people she's been against that time. I mean, she's. This is how when you look at her cage match, right? Apart from 2 matches in 2022 when she was in America, most likely at like WrestleCon or something like that, she hadn't wrestled in the UK since August 2021, and then Sapphire Reed 2nd of Feb. So you go down half a page, even less than half a page on her cage match, and you've got all of her matches from this year across all promotions on there. And there's some not on there, of course, but she's done really well. I like the way they were using the flexibility, the limb work, like escaping, bit of escapology. Like it didn't feel...
It was a beautiful escape from a submission hold where she basically slid out
Houdini, mate.
Angie's legs. Like that looked wicked.
Zoe Houdini.
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah. Look, the big thing that I want to talk about and kind of just end up on is you said earlier, I can't remember you said, I can't remember if it was off camera before we came on or whatnot, and you said about things that Andy booked really well. The more time I've had to reflect on this Sons of Southampton match, the more I've really enjoyed how it's gone. Okay?
Yep.
Everyone that I spoke to in there legitimately thought that they were staying together. Okay? And I thought this could be a masterstroke that Andy's playing on people like me. Because I'm like, well, of course they're not. Because David's a weasel. Like, we're fully expecting him to become a weasel again at some point. They are going up against the Bryants, who David has come out and said he handpicked because they're shit, right? Or
easier
opponent. Okay, so when I picked up on that, I went, well, of course they're going to lose then, right? They're not gonna say they're an easier opponent and beat them. But the people I spoke to in the crowd were convinced the Sons of Southampton were going to win. So people were on their side. One of the things, and I'm going back a whole year on this podcast now, right? This time last year, I think it was, we were building up or had just had that match with Sha at Southampton, right? And one of the things that you and I said is, how does Andy get over the problem, the David Francisco problem that he had?
Yeah, it was going to be a problem.
The crowd were going to cheer for him in everything they did. The crowd were literally chanting, "Fuck you, Francisco."
Yeah.
I thought that was a masterstroke.
You can't have Brett in Canada when you go to Canada every 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't...
Yeah, I do.
It don't work. You can't have Francisco being a dick in Sheffield and London and Coventry and then a hero in Southampton.
Yeah.
And then a dick in Sheffield and London and Coventry and then a hero in Southampton. Like, these shows come around too quickly. So I think I completely agree with you, mate. Masterful in the way that they genuinely baby-faced him. Yeah. We all came round, whether it was immediately or slowly, but we all came round to good guy Francisco and the Sons of Southampton. Mm-hmm. It's been a great storyline for JJ to be involved in for a long time because, you look at it and we get regular wrestlers in Rev Pro, but not everybody gets a program.
Yeah.
And a program, then that's what you want, isn't it? Like, you want to know, okay, what's my match going to be at the weekend? Like, I know you've booked me. I know that. Like the likes of Mills and Oku, and they're not booked week by week by Rev Pro, are they? They're booked at the start of the year for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, here's all our dates. Be available for all of these.
Hmm.
So you want to know what your match is going to be and what's your arc. Where am I going? And JJ's had that more so in 2025 than he's ever had it before. He's had the odd little run where it's like, oh, I'm doing something with Luke Jacobs and we're going to build to this match. But even then, it's been built to one match, have that one match, and then it's over. This has been a much longer storyline. So wicked for JJ that he's had that. Wicked for Francisco. Francisco doesn't feel in any way like a contender in any way. Like, he is as part of Rev Pro as anybody else is, more so than the vast majority. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is amongst that top level of guys where you'll be like, okay, so what's Francisco doing at this event?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to find space for him because he's been a big deal. He's done a fantastic job. He's literally drawn money because he's got people in Southampton, and although it's his merch he's selling, and not because that's the nature of the business, right?
Yeah.
It's not Rev Pro's t-shirts he's selling, it's David Francisco's t-shirts. But the fella's made a lot of money because he sold a lot of t-shirts over the last year, which has shown that popularity is genuine. And now we've got, you think Francisco versus JJ? Like, I'm well excited for that.
Yeah,
like that feels like a massive match for Uprising.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
it's built so well.
Where's it going to go on the card? Because we've already got so many other matches. But like, that's massive for Francisco. Francisco's never had a singles match on a major Rev Pro show, like on a a named event. So I'm really pleased with that, and I feel like it was really well executed. The fact that they had "Fuck You, Francisco," the fact that they had there was a brilliant moment. I don't know, I haven't seen the live stream. I hope they got it on camera, where like the David Francisco signs.
Yeah.
Someone's literally ripped it up into little pieces and just thrown it up in the air.
Love it. Yeah.
And it's just like, these moments just feel organic.
Yeah.
Like, they don't.
Yeah.
There was a chance, had they done this earlier on, that the crowd would have rejected it and been like, "Fuck you, JJ."
Yeah.
Because
but they didn't.
They've done what you said all along.
Yeah.
They've made Francisco justifiable because JJ's been a dick to him.
Yeah.
JJ has bailed on their friendship. He has not shown the commitment that others have. Francisco, every single match they've had, Francisco's had his arse kicked while JJ's been on the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
And JJ gets frustrated with Francisco on the outside of the ring rather than being a supportive friend. Last week in London, JJ looked like he was going to bolt and leave Francisco when the going got tough. So there's all of this, but then on the other hand, JJ's not been a dick. He's just not been the best tag team partner or the best friend. Doesn't make him a dick.
Yeah.
So you've got this discourse and this debate, and you've got layers, and some people will be in JJ's camp, some people will be in Francisco's camp. But regardless, Francisco will just be vile, and he'll turn everybody against him. And I think that the people of Southampton will have just as much fun rejecting Francisco now as they did supporting him.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think that works.
The David Francisco problem's dealt with, right?
Yeah, it's been a very smart way it's been dealt with. I'm just going to put something out there as well, and I sent you a voice note after the show when I was driving back because it was something very telling for me that happened, and I've got a theorem of what is to come. I just want to say, amazing, fantastic match, Kelly Six and Kuro. Kuro, we know. Kelly Six, we saw him against Luke last time. Great match. Another great match on Sunday as well. I spoke to him afterwards, and he said that match was a harder hitting match than the Luke Jacobs one. That says a lot about Kuro. But what you saw at the end of the match was They went very WWE, AEW big show, right? So when you're at one of these big shows and they've got to do a video package for the next match at a pay-per-view, the match ends, the loser's in the ring, and then the lights go down, and they just have to make their way out to the dance while the video's playing. Rev Pro never do that, but they did that here. That was telling that was done with purpose. So Kelly was sitting there. So where the screen's behind, and I'm an old man now, I can't be asked to turn around. I do one of two things. I put my selfie camera on and I hold it up and I can just watch the video in my selfie camera. Or
So clever.
I know. Or what I did is I sit there and I just watched Kelly Six because he was reacting to the fact that he was still in there. I was like, this is interesting. And as he was going out, he came back out and David Francisco whispered something in his ear.
Did he?
Yes. So I didn't know if you'd caught that or not. Yeah,
no,
he whispered something in his ear. I do not believe that the Sons of Southampton are over. Because I think the Sons of Southampton are about to become a stable, maybe. And being led by David Francisco. And either a tag team or a stable, but Kelly Six is about to become David Francisco's right-hand man. Think of the people that David has aligned himself with in Rev Pro, right? Since Joshua James was someone he aligned himself with, but there was a power dynamic. They were both contenders, but Francisco clearly saw himself as the more experienced contender. There was Golden Boy Santos. There was Damiao. But David was clearly had the, I'm the regular here, you're not. There was there was not a power imbalance between David and JJ. And that is the thing that's fallen aside. Whereas there is a power imbalance with Kelly Six in that Kelly has literally come out and said, 2025 all done.
Yeah.
And
it was JJ Gal who was the first person speaking on the promo. So from an optics point of view, JJ Gal interrupted Kelly Six's moment. There's a great shot that I managed to get, which I was really happy with, where Francisco and I'm sure it's completely coincidental because obviously that video package was filmed last week, but the way Francisco's looking at the camera with Kelly Six sitting in the ring makes it look like Francisco's looking at Kelly Six whilst JJ's saying win or bust. And 2025 or nothing feels like it's going to end with nothing because I just don't see how Kelly Six gets on that Uprising card. Unless it is in some big 10-man tag or battle royal or, do you know what I mean? Something just to get everybody on the card.
But if you have him involved in the David Francisco JJ Gale match that we think is going to happen, which gives David Francisco the win, he is a heel, and Noble Kelly Six 2025 or bust. Why does he have to be Noble anymore? He was on that card. He was on that card deciding the way of the match.
Yes, you've got the get out of jail free card. It's like the Cody Rhodes AEW. I will never wrestle for the championship again if I lose to Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Unless I turn heel, because then I can just do whatever the fuck I want because I'm a heel, and what you can do about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go back on my word. Like, we could absolutely do that. Yes, mate, I heard your voice note when I was driving home, and I really liked it. And then in my 10 takeaways that I posted on Monday, I completely stole it, credited you for it, and said that, this takeaway is going all credit to my cromulent friend George. Because, yes, mate, like, it was too poignant a moment not to include it in the takeaways, because that's the whole point of them. If you missed the show, here's some details you might want to know. I was really, really pleased with it, mate. I liked everything about it. And you mentioned Kuro and Kelly Six. Kuro is too good not to keep bringing back. I thought he was good against Robbie X. Like, I really enjoyed it. But this match, I saw even more potential in him.
Everyone got into his theme.
Taller, he looked stronger. Everybody got into his theme, and you're like, I said it in the takeaway, so I'm plagiarising myself now. Anyone who is European that comes into Rev Pro is going to be unfairly compared to Zazaya.
Breaking news. Will Caven, Mark True, Kieran Lacey versus Mystico, Mascara Dorada and Michael Oku.
Yeah. Nice.
Show 1 of FantasticaMania.
Yep. Very nice,
yes,
mate.
compared to
which
Zaya.
takes us very nicely to FantasticaMania. But if anyone can survive that Zazaya comparison, I think Kuro's the one that can.
Yeah. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, actually, because this just reminded me. Don't know if you picked up on it on the post-show analysis that Andy and Dave did. Andy mentioned True and Lacey could feature in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a thought or a nod to what we could be seeing. I just found that quite interesting, and I wouldn't be against cruiserweight champion Mark True. Right. Oh god, it looks like we might. No, that's the same one coming up again. Andy's posted it twice. He must have put a detail in there incorrectly again. I don't know if you saw it last week. There was one that got posted on Twitter literally 3 times because the uprising. I think it said uprising started at the match started at 12, but the doors opened at 2 or something like that. Bless him, he looked like he was having a bit of a.
We had one on Instagram for several days that had Sha Samuel's name spelt wrong.
Oh.
So you think and I think it might have been a graphic that Elliot had made rather than Andy had made. I think so. You've got to think Elliot's made it. He's not realised the mistake. Sent it to Andy. Andy's not realised the mistake. He sent it to me. I've not realised the mistake. And then I've put it up on Instagram. And then Shah's tagged in it and accepted it. Oku's tagged in it and accepted it. Jay and Mills have been tagged in it and accepted it.
Come on, boys.
None of them have noticed it and sent a message to be like, there's a typo in that, mate, get it changed.
Yeah.
And literally, it was only on the day when I made the 8-match graphic that I realised, oh, hold on, that one's misspelt. I better use that one that's got the right spelling in it. And just
oh god,
how many people does it take to put up a match graphic?
Yeah, exactly. But no, look, we've got the shows coming up at the weekend. Next week we'll probably do a bit more of a chat about Leon because that's the following week. So we'll save that there.
Yeah, I think Leon definitely deserves a proper good chat about.
We had a lovely match announced in Kuro versus Leon Cage. That is one that I am jealous that our French friends are going to see this before. But hey, look, this is one of those ones where.
Mate, I didn't feel massively FOMO from the live in Barcelona.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it massively for the Trios Grand Prix. I did. I like the Trios Grand Prix. Really liked it last year. But it was like, okay, it's not live streamed. I'll catch up with it when we get to catch up with it. I don't know if we're ever going to see light of day of that footage, but even then, I'm a bit like, you know what? Like, I know what happened now. I'm not really fussed. Like, I'll watch it just to, complete the history.
Yeah.
But Leon, like, if that wasn't being live streamed, I'd literally be like checking Twitter like I check BBC Sport when West Ham are playing, like refreshing it, looking for someone to tell me what's happened.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, the Leon show will be appointment viewing in our house. It will be like, right, Daddy's going to watch the wrestling. Fuck off and don't talk to me. Like, if you want to come and watch it, come and watch it. Otherwise, Mummy's the only parent home. I'm locked in. Like, that will be me on the 26th.
Also, thank you to the guys at Rev Pro for booking this because we were originally looking at going. Dave and I were trying every which way we could to make it work.
Oh, mate, so much so, weren't we, for us to be able to go to this one?
It literally came down to the time the flight landed back at Heathrow for Dave to be able to get to work that day. That's why we didn't do it.
Literally contemplating doing an all-nighter and just going to teach on Monday on no sleep.
We just couldn't. I think we looked at the last flight home that night and we just couldn't make it work in time. And that's how close we came. But me being the planner that I am, said, Dave, I'm not committing to any of this until I know I can get days off work. Well, when this trip couldn't go ahead, I completely forgot about the days I booked off work. So I looked at my calendar last week going, what have I got these 3 days booked off for? What wrestling show am I
Nice.
missing? Yeah, so I've got a nice
It's got a
5 day
nice little
weekend.
half
Yeah,
week.
literally a 5 day
Very
week.
nice,
I
man.
finish work next Friday and then go back till the following Wednesday. Beautiful.
So, speaking of FOMO, have you got FOMO for Saturday, FantasticaMania?
I do. Look, I'm going to be going to a very good gig. I'm going to see Berry tomorrow in Southampton, which is great. It's the end of
MC who?
Berry tomorrow.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know.
What did you think I said?
I'm going to see Berry
Oh, right, okay.
tomorrow. I was like, is there a band just called Berry? Like
No.
Berry?
No, Berry tomorrow. And they've got another 3
Berry
bands in the bill, and it cost me like £35 for a 4-band show at Southampton Guildhall,
Nice.
which is unheard of these days. There's bands that go to play the 1865 that are charging more than that at Southampton Guildhall.
Yeah.
It's mental, but I'm going to see them.
So what are you
great fun.
What are you most worried about missing?
The one
Mystico
Mystico and Oku is my one. I think I've said to you privately. There was 2. There's Mystico and Oku, and there's Leo versus Masquerade, because I hope that at some point
that's a tasty one. That is.
I hope at some point
that
that makeup match, the one that we were supposed to have at Global Wars, we were supposed to have that. It got
pretty much a year ago to the day, right?
Cruelly ripped away from us. And I hope we get it again at some point. And we are. It's going to be fun. I'm so happy for everyone going. If either of those matches were on the first show, I'd worked it all out. I timed it all out. I was going to be driving up to Wolverhampton to come and watch the first show, so I could see either of those matches and then drive straight to Southampton afterwards, so I could go to the gig in the evening. That was the plan. But as great as the first show matches are, there's always a hierarchy to these things. There's a good set of matches, and then the must-see matches are generally the evening second show ones. There are some great matches on there, like Sarah versus Ridgeway.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. But for me,
it was fortunate this time because I'm privy to the whole card this time because all the match graphics were made at the same time.
Right. Okay.
So Andy just sent me all of them and was like, just wait for them to go up on Twitter and then pop them up on Instagram. So for the first time ever, in fact, that meant that I knew what was going to happen with JJ and Francisco.
Got you, okay.
Because obviously I saw the match graphic of JJ and Fuego versus Okamura and Francisco.
Yeah.
Which I must say didn't take me out of enjoying the moment in the slightest. Like it was still really, really enjoyable. There are some matches for the first show that are still to be announced, which hopefully by the time the podcast go out will have, which I think is there's certainly matches I'm really looking forward to. Mm-hmm. So I think it's quite nicely balanced, the 2 shows. But you are right, the second show is always it's like your 2 nights at WrestleMania. The second night's always going to be the main one.
That's just how it is, and that's absolutely fine. It's like we said, this is what happens when you have more than one hobby, mate.
Mate, this is it. You can't have 2 hobbies.
Exactly.
I'll tell you one match I'm really excited for is the Lightning match. Yeah. The Lightning match with Robbie X in it, because I looked at that and I was like, what's the Lightning match? I've never heard of that. So I did a quick Google, and it's just like it's literally a 10-minute.
I was going to say, is that a 10-minute match?
10-minute time limit. But Robbie X, when you tell him he's got 10 minutes to wrestle, I can imagine that's going to be like a real, just frantic, blistering pace. Like I love New Japan's television championship, and I love their 15-minute time limits.
Yeah,
because it's like a classic 30-minute New Japan match condensed into 15. So instead of getting 10 minutes of feeling each other out, 10 minutes of escalation, and 10 minutes of exciting drama, it's 5, 5, and 5. Mm-hmm. Well, this is going to be 10 minutes. So this is literally going to be, I can imagine, no feeling out at all, going straight at it, bang, 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 10 minutes done. And we don't get matches like that. We don't get matches like that in Rev Pro very often. And If we did, I'd probably criticise it because it's not
Time and place, right?
It's not my type of wrestling, but there is a time and a place, and that is definitely a CMLL show with luchadors on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that. The Leo Rush Mascarado Dorado one is just that really came out of left field, and I'm like, really like that. Just the of course I'm going to love Ridgeway versus Hechicero, but the Mystico and Oku match is like that is top guy versus top guy. And normally when you have these shows like your Forbidden Doors and your Royal Quests and stuff where two companies come together, very rarely do you get top guy versus top guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Because how do you book that where someone has to lose? So I'm really excited for that.
So am I. And look, that's it, right? There's the difference between matches I think are going to be very, very good to the matches that will get me considering driving from South to Wolverhampton back down to go to a gig in the evening, right? Like that's the level
enough,
and those two matches would have been enough for me. The worst that's going to happen for me, mate, is I'm going to get to load up RevProOnDemand.com. I get to watch the matches back. So the FOMO of not being there is going to be eased by the fact I will get to see them anyway.
You will, mate. You will.
Look,
I've got two back-to-back shows of standing up because I'm a tightwad and chose the standing up ticket rather than the sitting down ticket.
And look, I'm looking at the shows now, and there are still second row tickets available for the show. That's £85, but you still get general admission seats for the second show. You can get standing ticket for £45. Like there's still value.
So I was going to say, I remember seeing my standing ticket and being like £45 for two shows.
Oh god, that's the two shows, isn't it? Sorry, yes,
for both of them. And I remember like I stood for Summer Sizzler, standing in the hangar. You're really close to the ring.
Yeah.
Because they only have a few rows on the sides.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
The front and the back are quite deep, but on the sides, it's like standing on the side at your call.
Yeah.
When you're underneath the balcony on the wrestlers' merch side and the commentary side, there's just a couple of rows in front of you, and it's a great spot. And I'm very happy because I did a little bit of Googling on where I can get food in between, and I found this absolute diamond of an Indian restaurant, which has like been written about in the Guardian, and is like proper nice food.
Yeah.
But seems remarkably affordable considering how well it's being praised.
Yeah.
The only thing is you can't book a table. It is literally you just have to turn up. So my first choice is I'll sneak out and get myself a really nice Indian. My backup choice is I'll be wandering around looking for a kebab on the street.
If there's one thing that I can say is that even though I don't frequent Indian restaurants much, I've never ever seen an Indian restaurant where you walk in and can't get a table, no matter how busy it is.
Exactly.
There is always a table somewhere.
This is what they do.
Yeah, exactly. Right, my friend. That feels like a good place to leave it. I think it's going to be a banger of a show at the weekend. And I think
always a pleasure, my friend.
We're going to have some good things to talk about next week, my friend.
Yes, mate. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to telling you all about FantasticaMania, but also us getting to really look at this Leon card.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Looking forward to chatting about it, my friend. I'll catch you later.
Cheers, bud.